Welcome to the Viking Age podcast. It's the official podcast of thevikingage.com. My name is Chris Schad. I write for FanSided and Zone Coverage. He is Adam Patrick, NFL editor for FanSided and runs the Viking Age. We do this right here on the Viking Age YouTube channel every Tuesday and Friday morning, and we're also in podcast form on Apple and Spotify the very next day. But however you consume us, make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe so you never miss a new episode and we can spread the word to the masses. On today's show, the Vikings are now down to a third-string offensive line. Carson Wentz might die on Sunday, and Shador Sanders still a moron. But before we, how are you doing, Adam? Are you feeling good? Because I said Monday was crash out Monday, but I'm still not. I'm still not okay.
Yeah, I'm feeling good. I know the Vikings lost on Sunday, but I was off, so I kind of got to enjoy the game as a fan and not have to cover it for the first time in a long time. Went to a Vikings bar out here in San Diego. It was pretty awesome. It was nice to be in the presence of other people who had the same complaints and problems with the Vikings, with everyone shouting at the screen about, Carson Wentz, throw the ball and stuff like that. So that was a good time. But yeah, I'm back and ready to go for this round 2 of the Vikings European vacation that they're having right now.
That's why I always made sure to go to at least one, maybe 2 games a year when I was in South Dakota, because I just needed that hit of I'm around my people. I am talking to my people.
Yeah.
And I mean, especially living out there, I'm sure find the Vikings
There's a couple
bar.
Vikings bars out here, but the one I went to, it's called Guava Beach Bar and Grill in Pacific Beach. It's been around here for a while, and it's been a Vikings bar for a while, so I just wanted to check it out, and it was pretty awesome. We did the Skull Chant, and then after every first down, there was like a DJ and stuff there, like playing music and stuff, and after every Vikings touchdown, we did the Vikings fight song and stuff like that. So it was pretty fun.
Now, do they do it like they do it in the Midwest, where you have do you drink Bloody Marys out there? Or is that a Midwest thing?
Oh no, yeah. My dad was with me, and he got, because the game out here it started at 6:30.
Yeah,
in the morning. So yeah, that Bloody Mary is on the menu. Breakfast burritos. Yeah, it was flowing. They had breakfast.
That DJ too.
They had breakfast shots that had like bacon in them and stuff too. So that was interesting.
That DJ must have stayed up all night. He probably had a wedding day. He's like, well,
probably, yeah.
I gotta be to work in 4 hours. So
yeah, probably.
I'll just drink a Celsius and be ready to go. Let's run through the Vikings injuries, because that seems to be the most dominant storyline with this team right now. The Vikings offensive line basically currently not practicing like any of them. Christian Darrisaw has been out the last 2 days. He's resting. It sounds like he'll play on Sunday, so we think that's the case. Donovan Jackson will be out again on Sunday. He is recovering from a wrist procedure. He's out until after the bye, at least. UDFA, Joe Huber of Wisconsin is probably starting there on Sunday. Ryan Kelly is out with a concussion, and probably we don't know when he's going to come back. Brian O'Neill is week to week with an MCL injury. And Michael Juergens has a hamstring injury and has not practiced each of the next 2 days. Here's what gets me, because I'll read this and then I'll ask you my question here. Blake Brandel talked to the media contingent that went over to London, and he was asked, hey, you ever played center before? And he goes, I've never played it in a game, no, but I've had a lot of practice reps. Thankfully, whether that's a scout team or whatever, it's just one of those things where I knew there at some point could be a possibility, and we're here. So I'm excited. I also heard that he stayed at a Holiday Inn Express last night. This is like Willens Astudillo, the old fat guy on the Twins. He'd go and do a barrel roll when he was rounding third base or whatever, and he'd have to pitch. And oh yeah, it's Astudillo. Look, he's pitching La Tortuga. That's exactly what the Vikings are doing at center. This offensive line is driving me mad, and this is where I'm crashing out for the first time today. There will probably be a couple more.
Yeah, and don't they have isn't there a guy on the practice squad who's actually played? Is it Henry Bird who's actually played center?
Yeah, he did it in college.
So I'm just confused as to why Brandle's the go-to guy for center. Maybe it's probably because he just knows the offense better, so he can just direct people where to go a little better than maybe someone like a rookie or an offensive or an undrafted free agent would be. What?
The guy is Vershawn Lee. I thought I was
Oh
reading
yeah,
that wrong. No,
yeah.
Vershawn Lee is his name. He would be a practice squad elevation. Over 1,200 snaps at center in college, 86 this preseason with okay grades, according to Krauser. So there you
Yeah,
go.
that would make sense to play the guy who's played center before, but
But the Vikings do this all the time. They think like offensive linemen are like in Madden,
just
like,
throw it
oh,
together. That'd be fine.
this guy's at left tackle. I'm just gonna put him at center and see what happens.
It's just it's week 5, and it feels like you remember what season was it? Was it 2021? I think it was Zimmer's last. Was that when the Christmas game when Kamara had like
6
6
touchdowns.
touchdowns?
Mhm.
And that game, like everyone's like, "Oh, beat the Zimmer defense." No, Zimmer was playing like third and fourth stringers in that game, and that was week 15 or 16. The Vikings are already doing that with their offensive line, and it's week 5. So, um, this feels, I don't know, yeah, it feels like you go back to 2016, this has kinda got similar vibes to it, where, like, anytime they get any sort of, like, hope on the offensive line, someone gets injured. I remember they signed Jake Long that year, and he got hurt, like, his first game or whatever, like, blew out his knee and was like, "Yep, I'm done." But, yeah, the offensive line, so basically, Carson Wentz, you're just gonna have to get rid of the ball real fast on Sunday because the Browns defense has a very good pass rush, especially if Miles Garrett is able to get on the field. I know he's been limited with an ankle injury. I would assume he's going to play on Sunday, but even if he doesn't, the Vikings are going to have a tough time just blocking with a brand new offensive line. This is like every week; it's a brand new combination where like this all these injuries, it's gotten so bad where all of these injuries have gotten me to think like, maybe Garrett Bradbury and Ed Ingram weren't so bad because they were available. Like you could depend on them being there every week. It wasn't a good available, but they
They
were
were
there.
there. They showed
Yeah,
up to work. Like it's kind of like my days at Quick Trip when you had the stoner dude from high school show up and put the raw chicken on top of the fresh apples and not understand what he was doing wrong.
he was there.
He was there. He showed up to work.
But so like I don't know what's worse, like having a reliable someone who's reliable and stays healthy most of the time, but isn't the greatest offensive lineman, or a random combination of offensive linemen every single week, and maybe you'll get someone who's better one of those weeks. So like it seemed like in the offseason and leading into the season, the Vikings finally had this offensive line thing sorted out. No, it might even be worse than it has been in a very long time.
I'm trying to think what's a more likely event. Like, does Miles Garrett hit an F5 on Carson Wentz like in the middle of the game?
Yeah.
Or does this turn into like the opening scene of Terrifier 4 where it's just like blood, guts everywhere? I don't know. There's a chainsaw on the field for whatever reason. By the way, do you watch are you a spooky season guy
Uh
or
Not like gory horror,
that just
more
seems
like thriller.
extreme?
I'm
Yeah,
thinking of
suspense.
like the opening scene of the Jackass movie when they're all running away from like the bulls and stuff through the neighborhood, and that's Carson Wentz running away from the Browns defense on Sunday.
Speaking of balls, I saw somebody. This is what it's going to be. Somebody a couple weeks ago posted this. It was this clip of this bullfighter getting just wrecked by a bull, like just charged into.
Yeah.
And he's like, this is like when in duo, when the defensive line is like, oh, nobody's blocking me. And he gets, oh, trap. I'm sorry, in trap. And then like he thought it was a harmless clip. And then like people slowed it down and his like face was hanging off because he got hit by the horn or whatever.
Who's that?
That's going to
Justin
be
School?
Carson Wentz on Sunday. Then we could put in Max Brosmer because apparently he's the greatest quarterback ever because he did really well in some preseason games and used to play for the Gophers. Just like Adam Thielen's doing really well because he's from Minnesota, isn't he?
Hey, CJ Ham's coming back.
See, more Minnesotans. Is there another Minnesotan
And
that we could
they
get?
just signed offensive lineman who I think is
Coney
from
Doerr's
Minnesota.
out there. We need some corners. Let's go sign him.
They could trade for Antoine Winfield. I'd be fine with that.
I would have liked them to take Antoine Winfield in that draft, but I think the biggest thing, no matter who is playing quarterback, is that the Vikings just need to fix their offense. And I think that's the biggest problem. This team is having an identity crisis on offense, and part of it's the injuries. I mean, you can't control Jordan Addison getting suspended for 3 games or Christian Darrisaw's knee not being ready or any of that stuff. But some of the things that are going on right now are just making me insane. Like, people are talking about the quarterback again. Mike Sando had a big piece at The Athletic this morning talking about, yeah, I get what the Vikings are doing, but have you seen Sam Darnold yet lately? That he looks pretty damn good. And then I here's another story for you, Adam. I logged onto my Facebook for the first time in a while, and the first thing I saw was a picture of Aaron Rodgers in a Vikings uniform. I told you we should have brought him in. Everybody said I was crazy, except for the fact he would be even more of a bitch if he had to play behind this offensive line right now. But that's neither here nor there. And then, of course, there's Max Brosmer, who's the next Kurt Warner. I mean, he almost beat Michigan. He almost beat Penn State. He beat a bad Wisconsin team. He processes faster than anybody else. What could go wrong? Why would they ever go back to J.J. McCarthy? It's the identity crisis thing. Tyler Fornes, our friend from A to Z Sports, who I'd like to get on the show here in near future here, he noted that there were a lot of easy throws for Carson Wentz on Sunday. Well, congratulations to Kevin O'Connell, because it only took him 14 quarters to figure it out. Oh, I don't have an offensive line. I can't run triple move, deep routes with my quarterback. That's amazing. That's pretty outstanding. And everybody, including myself, was pissed off about the running game. Well, here's the thing. Okay, Dallas Turner, bust, right? He's not doing his job. Look at what the Vikings did on defense. Dallas Turner, this is from I gotta check the name here. It was a Daily Norseman writer, Warren Bedford. Is that it? Yes. He posted that Turner has the second highest pass rushing productivity grade among first round 2024 edge rushers right now. Small group, but still very impressive. He also has the highest grade among that group in true pass sets. So second and long, third and long, etc. Javon Allen, Javon Hargrave, they are pass rushers. Ivan Pace, his job is not to cover people. His job is to go in like a heat-seeking missile and get at the ball carrier. Hasn't done a good job at it, but still, he's not expected to do a lot of those things. You also have Andrew Van Ginkel and Brian Cashman out. That hurts your run defense. But the point I'm making here is that we're bashing all these pass rushers for things they were not asked to do. The real problem here is that the offense isn't scoring points, because this defense is built to play with a lead. They need to jump on top of teams. They need to force them into passes so they can bury their quarterback into the ground. And right now, teams are getting ahead. They're running the ball and they're exposing this defense. So I don't know. Like I said, there's some things out of his control, but I mean, Kevin O'Connell, you're the offensive genius guy. Like, time to figure it out.
Yeah.
And I like Kevin O'Connell. I don't want this to be like a fire KOC thing. I'm just,
no.
Hey, dude, this is what you were hired for. Figure it out.
Yeah, not every coach is perfect. Every coach has their flaws. Some more than others. But you look back at the Vikings' best game this season was against the Bengals, and their defense played awesome and forced turnovers because they were ahead, so they could take a little more risks. And because I think the Wentz led the Vikings on a touchdown drive on their opening drive, so they immediately they're up ahead, so they can feel a little better about maybe blitzing more here and more there, or maybe Isaiah Rodgers feels good about cheating up a little bit more, something like that. So other than that game, the Vikings the defense has really had to play like on its heels more rather than on the attack, which we all know this Brian Flores defense is at its best when they can attack, which I think they should be able to do on Sunday against the Browns, because we've been hearing all week about how the Vikings offensive line is in shambles and they're going to struggle and everything. But the Browns' offensive line is worse than the Vikings' offensive line, and they don't even really have any injuries. They're just bad in general. So I think the Vikings are going to have a lot of opportunities. The defense is going to have a lot of opportunities this weekend to get to the quarterback and create a lot of havoc and generate turnovers. And I think the Vikings' best offense is probably going to be their defense and special teams on Sunday.
And I think too, like I'm still looking a little bit down the road. I don't think the offense gets going on Sunday. You'll hear it in my
No.
prediction later in the show. But if they can just get this offense going, they can compete in the NFC right now.
Yeah.
Like it is wide ass open. Like once again, like I know the Eagles have only lost once in the past calendar year, but AJ Brown is one more like one catch game away from like going full
Yeah.
Terrifier on the Eagles practice facility right now. But
The Eagles this year look like the Chiefs last year, where it's like they keep winning, but you're like, they're not unbeatable. Like they have the championship moxie or whatever to come back and stay in every game or pull ahead, but they're not unbeatable. And then you look at it like the Lions are the team that I feel like has taken that step and shown everybody like, hey, we're still here. We're the team that probably you have to worry about in the NFC. Um, but other than that, like the Niners, they got off to a 3-0 start, but I don't. They've got a bunch of their own injuries. I don't look at them as like a serious contender. Maybe the Seahawks. I don't know. Darnold would have to prove that in the playoffs. And then in the South, I like the Bucks. I like Baker Mayfield and stuff, but they got a bunch of injuries too. So like a lot of teams dealing with the same things that the Vikings are, and you wouldn't know it by looking at some of the reactions online from Vikings fans and other analysts. But the Vikings are 2-2. They are 500. They are not 0-4. They still have a good chance of making the playoffs this season because there's what 13 games left in the regular season, and there's plenty of time for people to get healthy. Like, wouldn't you rather have these injuries happen in the beginning of the season than the end of the season? Probably. But we'll see how it goes this weekend.
and I said this in the last episode too. I figure I think a lot of people have like this huge hair trigger emotional reaction right now because they don't want the we're 10-7 in the hunt all year and we have no shot at winning a Super Bowl. Like
Yeah,
that totally understandable, especially with where the expectations were coming into the year. And that's why people are second guessing the quarterback position. It's like Sam Darnold is playing very well right now. But like you mentioned, part of the reason they did not re sign him is because what happened in the playoffs? He melted down. Is that going to happen again? Who knows?
and who did the Seahawks
Um,
lose to?
the Rams
The
or
Niners.
the Niners, yes.
First game of the year, come down to the
Oh,
wire. Guess who fumbled?
Sam Darnold.
Oh, Sam Darnold. Weird. Yeah, I think I saw a reel or something on TikTok the other day of it was somebody doing voice mimicking the was it Happy Gilmore, the beginning of it when he's like talking to the apartment, what's it called, the monitor or whatever that
Landlord?
he, no, like the speaker, and he's
The
like,
intercom.
yeah, yes. He's like, "Oh, I love you so much." And he's like, "Get out of here! I hate you! I hate you!" It's just like every week being a Vikings fan, it's just like that. So yeah,
No,
so
no. I swear to God, I'm gonna run the offense this week. Kevin O'Connell just said, I swear to God, I'll run the ball this week if we can't get anything going. And I know we have no offensive line. Oh, I want to throw it 40 times.
Carson
Yeah,
Wentz threw it 50, right? Did he throw it 50 times?
he threw it 46, I believe,
Okay,
last game.
still too high,
Um, Let me ask you this because you weren't on Monday, so I
right?
like to get your opinion on this. So JJ McCarthy not going to play on Sunday. I thought I saw it might have been fake Twitter news that he was running the scout team. Maybe it was just somebody being
They
like,
wanted him to, but he hasn't practiced this week.
so yeah, that's not great. Do you think he comes back against the Eagles or like how long are you holding him out?
I mean, obviously, you want to have a favorable matchup, and you want your offensive line to be in better shape. But at this point, I feel like you can only protect him so much. It's the NFL. Every team is going to be difficult. Every team is going to get after you. Like they played the Falcons week 2. Like Falcons, like since then, like maybe their defense is a little better, but they haven't generated anywhere close to the same pass rush that they generated against the Vikings in
And
week 2.
thinking back, it was such a weird game because
Yeah.
like there were plays where it was just like nobody
Then the following week they
blocked
got beat
anyone. It's
30 to
like,
nothing by the Panthers. What?
yeah. Like I feel like the new pieces are just like, what is going on? I don't understand
So
what I'm supposed to do on this play.
I would like McCarthy, if he's healthy, to be back for the Eagles game. That's not a guarantee, obviously, but it just feels like Kevin O'Connell is setting everyone up to be like, oh well, he's gotta make sure he's got his full ankle healed so he can use that as his plant foot for his fundamentals. And I'm like, dude, if he doesn't have his fundamentals down in week 7, then that's on you. Like you've had all off season, all OTAs, all training camp, all preseason to work on that stuff. And if you're going to use that as a crutch to not play your quarterback, who's your starting quarterback, then that's on you. He needs to be out there. He needs to get reps. I don't care if it's like look at Joe Burrow. He's been fighting for his life the entire time. Basically, he's been in the NFL. Like protection is only going to be so good in the NFL. There are no quarterbacks who are like Peyton Manning, who had like a 3% sack rate in his career, is extremely rare. So like this thought that like McCarthy has to be 100% completely healthy so he can do all the fun. Like just get him out there, run a simpler game plan like the one you ran against the Bengals with Carson Wentz. Let him play to his strengths and let him get the reps. Like enough of this. I feel like they're babying their quarterback and it's not really helping anybody.
And here's the thing. If you are babying him at this point, I'm just gonna say, why didn't you sign Aaron Rodgers? Why didn't you sign any other
Well,
quarterback that was available?
they tried
You
to.
know,
They tried to sign Daniel Jones.
yeah. Well, up your offer to say you're. I mean, if
No,
you,
they gave him more money
yeah, I
than the
know.
Colts,
Well, what
but
here's
he wasn't guaranteed to be a starter. That
and
was
maybe that's their mistake. They
yeah.
should have said you will start the year as the starter, and if things fall apart, we'll put JJ in. We want him to get more reps and get him more comfortable since he was hurt last year. But you are our starter,
They
and
went
maybe he
Flacco
saw
too.
that and he
Did they
goes,
try?
I see what's happening here,
Did they try and get
But
Flacco too? Or I don't.
I'm not sure about that. I don't think I'd see like I wouldn't want Rodgers. I wouldn't want Flacco.
No,
Like I I guess a lot of the options weren't very good,
no, they weren't.
to be honest. Do
And
they
who? And we still don't even really know about Daniel Jones. Like the Colts are off to a good start, but they've played, I believe, the Titans and some other terrible team as well. Oh, the Dolphins. So it's not
Mhm.
like they've like going up against tough teams, and they lost. They just lost to the Rams, who are good. Um, I mean, they probably could have won if their receiver could have just held onto the ball crossing the goal line, but that's another story. Yeah, I just think it's you've built this kid up all off season, like he's our guy, everyone's confident in him, blah blah blah. He's QB1, and then he gets a chance to show like his toughness and his leadership, and you're like, oh no, he's got to be 100% so he can go through all the fundamentals, make sure his mechanics are perfect. And it's like, this is not the time to work on that stuff. The off season is the time to do that. Get him out there, let him play. If he doesn't do well, oh well, go back to the drawing board. He's a second year player who's started 2 games in his career. He's not gonna be able to do a whole lot right now. But it's up to you to teach him that during the games and practice. It's not the time for fundamentals. I like the whole mechanics thing is just so bothersome to me.
maybe they get Anthony Richardson and he starts a game. Just
He did.
dumped
I
off
did
at
see the
the
report. I did see the report that Richardson wants to like land with like a McVay type play caller, so you can reset for 2026. And someone posted like
he's trying to get cut.
yeah, I would. He's not. He's not.
Yeah.
He's not going anywhere
He
with the
wants to do
Colts.
the Daniel Jones thing. He saw what Daniel Jones did. Like, I want to do what that guy did. Shit. It's working for him.
Uh, that makes me like every time I hear because there's the Vikings wanted Anthony Richardson. Like that was the rumor they wanted to draft him. And then there's the reports that they wanted Caleb Williams, but they knew he was going to go to the Bears anyways. I don't think either of those quarterbacks fits Kevin O'Connell's offense, and I don't think he would know what to do with them because they're good at scrambling and running. And Kevin O'Connell wants you to run his offense like Jared Goff. So I've never understood why, like those reports come out, like the Vikings were very interested in Anthony Richardson and would have drafted Caleb if he was available, and like, but it wouldn't have worked. So I don't, because Kevin O'Connell, he'll get frustrated after two plays of Anthony Richardson, you know, fumbling in the goal line or something like that, or Caleb Williams throwing across his body to the other side of the field. Like Kevin O'Connell wouldn't be able to tolerate those guys. So like I just always thought those reports were funny. But back to the conversation of, JJ McCarthy, whenever he's healthy, whenever he's able to play, not even 100% healthy. It's the season. You're not going to be 100% healthy. If he's able to play, go against the Eagles. I'm sure the broadcast or whatever would rather have Carson Wentz go against the Eagles because it's his former team. He was drafted by them. But if McCarthy can play, if McCarthy can have an extra week to prepare to go against the Eagles, then I feel like that's a good time to get him out there. The offensive line is what it is. It's never going to be perfect part of this year. You might not even see the original five that the Vikings wanted to start all year long. So it is what it is. Figure out around it, work around it, and get your quarterback back out there because he's the guy that you want to build around for the future. And sitting him until he's 100% healthy isn't doing anyone any good by just having him stay on the bench, not even practicing.
Well, maybe some of our listeners are having issues just like JJ McCarthy. They had a tough week in Underdog. They feel like they're sacked. They got to get down their fundamentals. But that's the thing. You got to get back out there because football season is in full swing and Underdog is the place to get in on all the action. Playing Underdog is easy. Just pick whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like rushing yards, receptions, touchdowns, and more. Get your picks right and you could win up to 5,000 times your cash. You can play with just as little as $1. I've been playing Underdog for years, and I'll tell you how easy it is. Let's make an entry right now. We know that TJ Hawkinson has to play guard now, so we'll go lower on his receiving yards, which is at 29.5. We also know the Vikings can't stop the run. So how about Quinshon Judkins higher than 72.5 rushing yards? So we'll take out our Underdog app. We'll submit our entry. And if they do their thing, you win money just like that. It's one of the entries that you can make for Sunday's game. And all you got to do is download the app today, sign up with the promo code The Age, which is all one word, and you score $100 in bonus funds when you play your first $5. That's promo code The Age. Millions of fans have already won billions making picks on Underdog. Will you be next? Underdog, make picks, win money. You must be 18 plus, 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Offer is not valid in Maryland, Michigan, New Jersey, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. And if you are concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. All right, let's look ahead. Sunday morning, get the bloodies ready, get some pancakes. I'm a waffles guy myself, but you can get some breakfast burritos.
Yeah.
You can get creative with it. Get a little pregame spread in before the game. But it is the Vikings and the Browns, 8:30 a.m. on NFL Network. Kenny Albert and Jonathan Vilma on the call. Vikings currently favored by 3.5 points. And the latest news in this matchup is that Dylan Gabriel, the third-round pick out of Oregon, will be starting for the Browns. So is this a good or a bad thing, Adam?
Oh, I think it's a good thing for the Vikings and Brian Flores, who gets to go against a rookie quarterback, not someone like Aaron Rodgers, who's been in the league for almost 20 years, who I believe waited until I heard he was waiting until like the clock to go down to like the play clock to go down to like 2 or 1 so he could make sure that the Vikings defense was completely set in whatever formation they eventually settled on so that he could figure it out. I don't think a third round rookie quarterback is going to be doing that. I think he's going to see guys moving around in the Vikings defense and wondering why Josh Metellus is lining up on the defensive line, and then he's lining up at corner, and then eventually in a linebacker spot before they snap the ball. So I think it'll be good for the Vikings, and I would expect the Browns offense to have a little spark, a little more jump to them with the young guy in there who maybe can move around a little bit better than Joe Flacco. But I'll give you this stat that I found today that PFF does. I know other people have mentioned this though, but PFF keeps track of pressures that are generated by the quarterback, like how much of the pressures are the quarterback's fault. And you know, JJ McCarthy and Carson Wentz, they've had a percentage of like 25% of their pressures that they've faced have been like to blame partially on the quarterback. Now you look at Joe Flacco. Uh, He's been pressured more than any other quarterback in the NFL this year. Only 4.5% of those pressures have been Flacco's fault. The other 86.6% of those pressures have been the O-line's fault, and I believe almost 30% of those pressures have been from the left tackle spot. So I feel like like I mentioned earlier, like we've heard a lot about how the Vikings offensive line is going to be, have a tough time against the Browns pass rushers. Well, the Browns offensive line is going to have their hands full with the Brian Flores defense, which I feel like might just go balls to the wall and blitz the crap out of this rookie quarterback and just see what he has. Also, uh, Greg Newsome, cornerback for the Browns, added to the injury report today on Thursday with a hamstring injury. So that's something to keep an eye on. I'm sure Jordan Addison and Justin Jefferson's eyebrows raise a little bit if they saw that today. But I just feel like, yes, the Browns have a solid defense, but I think people keep forgetting that the Vikings, by a lot of measurables right now, have the best defense in the NFL. Like you look at like PFF grade, EPA per play, total EPA, like all that fun stuff. The Vikings are the best. The Browns have a top 10 unit, but the Vikings have the better defense. And I think the Vikings defense going against this rookie quarterback is going to make life like very difficult for him to get anything done. So bravo by the Browns for giving Dylan Gabriel the number one defense in the NFL as his first start. We talk about making it easy for JJ McCarthy. The Browns are not doing Dylan Gabriel any favors, but I guess they just were tired of seeing Joe Flacco just stand back there and not do a whole lot. So I like the matchup of the Vikings defense against this rookie quarterback a lot.
You know what they should have done? They should have given Shador Sanders the start. And not because he gives them the best chance to win, just to shut his ass up.
Well, they wouldn't be able to hear his play calls though, because last time I saw he couldn't when he talks. Not he says words, but you don't hear anything that comes out of his mouth. They wouldn't be able to hear his hike call or whatever. I guess his cadence.
Right? Okay, I'm just gonna say it. I know what he was trying to do there. I really do. It was, hey, like if I say anything, yeah, I am going to get in trouble, like the whole thing. But like all you have to do in that situation as a journalist, I know how this works. All you have to do is say, I'm not talking today. You can even be an asshole about it if you want. You say, I'm not talking today. Yep. Like go talk to Dylan, go talk to Joe.
He doesn't have to talk to anybody.
But they know he'll say something stupid. That's in this case, do something stupid. Like the whole mind thing. It's like, dude, you don't have to do all this. Stop watching, get up, stop watching, stop checking Twitter, and Josina Anderson came out. She's like, what a brave, bold move or something like that. Just like complimenting. I'm like, he's hurting himself. Yeah. Like every time he like welcomes the media to his locker, he doesn't get it. His dad Dion's like, hey, that's super funny, man, or son, like great job. Like, no, you guys are all insane. Like, no, that's what drives me nuts about this. Nobody can figure out why Shador slid in the draft or why he's not starting or anything else like that. It's because he's hurting himself every time he does something like this. It's was he a terrible quarterback at Colorado? No, but I mean,
No.
imagine if the Jets took him, or excuse me, the Giants took him with the 3rd overall pick and he was doing all that stuff. Teams don't want to deal with this crap. They don't want to deal with the sideshow. And like he's going down, he's chasing reporters, he's doing all that stuff. If I were the Browns and the owner didn't tell me to pick Shador Sanders, which is probably what happened, I would have cut his ass after that. Like, this is your wake up call. Grow up. But nope, we gotta have segments on get up and everything else, and the media's against me and whatever. Just that's my rant. So
No,
good
it's
luck with
true
Dylan
because like,
Gabriel, though.
but there were reports that the Ravens wanted to draft him so he could be the backup behind Lamar, and he didn't want to go there because he didn't want to be a backup in the NFL. And instead, now he's not even a backup in the NFL; he's third
The
string
backup to the
quarterback.
backup.
Yeah, so great job by you, Shadur. Um, just like, yeah, it's simple. You just say like, I'm waiting for my opportunity or whatever. When it comes, it comes. I'll make the most of it. Right now, I'm here to support like Dylan and help out with the quarterback room, prepare for the Vikings. That's literally all he had to say. And he didn't even say a word. He just put on a show, like made that makes your like whole locker room just look like fools, like your whole
The
organization,
whole yeah.
because they're the ones that brought you in, took a chance on you, used a draft pick on you. The Browns aren't, the Browns rookie class is really good this year. They probably could have got someone even better with that pick that they used on Shadur. Um,
They had to
so
trade up for him.
yeah, it's like it's all woe is me stuff, but it's like just look in the mirror. It's because of the stuff that you bring this stuff upon yourself. It's not like he's just sitting there doing nothing, and then people will blame like the media for talking to him. It's like you said, he could have said, I'm not talking to you today," or just said like, "I don't really have anything to say." Um, I'm sure somebody would have painted it in a negative way anyways, but doing what he did was like the absolute worst thing. He just like what was it, Xavier Legette the other day when they asked him like what he learned during his like 2 games off, and he was like, "Didn't really learn." I don't want to do that. Didn't really learn anything. Um, I don't even want to try his accent because it's so unique. I don't even want to pretend.
Very.
Yeah, like it's impressive how unique it is. But like he said, he didn't learn a thing at all. What? Why would you say that? Why would you say that? Just, I know these dudes are young and 22, and like they're used to NIL and everything being all about them in college. That's not how it is in the NFL. Like you got to work hard to be in the NFL and remain in the NFL. So I feel like some of this like Shadur stuff and Leggett stuff is a byproduct of like the NIL stuff where people like think they're something before they even get in the NFL. Where back in the day, like getting to the NFL was the prize, and now I don't know if that's the case anymore. It is still is for a lot of people, but like for some people who were clearly more popular in college or got more opportunities, they come to the NFL and they think it's going to be the same way. They're going to act the same way and be like the center of attention. That's not the case. You can get cut in 2 seconds and they can replace you with somebody who's going to be less of a problem and probably better than you. So, um, yeah, the Browns. Um, who's going to be what's more likely? Stefanski's with the Browns next year or Shadur? Well, Stefanski's not on the Browns next year or Shadur's not on the Browns next year.
I will say Shador because I could see Andrew Berry getting canned and Stefanski staying on.
Oh, you think the GM's going to get canned? Interesting. I feel like they would keep the GM over the head coach. Usually that's how that goes.
But also, too, that's what I want to know. Who made the Watson decision?
The owner.
Yeah, you're right.
It's
It was Jimmy
always
Haslam.
the owner. He didn't. Was he the owner when they drafted Trent Richardson too?
I gotta look. When did We need some
I
music
think
here.
he was the owner when they drafted Johnny Manziel. So
Jimmy
like,
Haslam bought the Browns in 2012. So yes, he was.
yeah, 2012 was Richardson. Um, they drafted Brandon Whedon. Like,
You got him for
he's
a bargain too, $1 billion.
yeah, they're worth way more now.
Yeah,
Owners like him make you appreciate the Vikings owners because yes, they have their moments where like they want to stay competitive, everything. They don't want to be a team that tanks every year, but you never hear about them like middling into like really like personnel decisions. It's they've maybe in the past they have, but right now, like they let KOC and his staff and Kwesi and his staff do their thing. They don't mess around. They let them do their own thing. Where like that is not the case with the Browns. That is not the case with the Panthers. That is not the case with the Jets. Like all the teams that are the worst in the NFL, it's because their owners are making roster decisions and draft decisions for them. And guess what? They're the wrong decisions because they're not there to make those decisions. They're there to pay the bills. Uh, so, Browns and Vikings gonna be boring on Sunday.
yeah. Well, that it's funny because I had, does anything outside of the Browns defensive line concern you? And I said I'm concerned that this game is going to be boring as hell. The
It is.
over under. Have you seen the over under for the game?
It was like 36.
36 and a half. It is the lowest for an NFL game this season. It is the lowest for an international game ever. By comparison, Iowa, Minnesota in 2023 was a 30 and a half over under. It hit the under. Army, Navy in 2022 was 32 points, hit the under. You might want to go to church instead on Sunday. And if you're going, you might as well pray for Carson Wentz because, like, he very well might die on national television on Sunday. So,
um,
our center stayed at a Holiday Inn Express last night, like I said. So, that's great.
yeah, this is. Luckily, I don't think anyone's gonna be remaining in London after this game. Usually, this is when the Jaguars like fire somebody and leave them in London whenever they go. But no, I feel good about the Vikings. The Vikings should win this game. They have the better. I think I'm safe to say they have the better quarterback. I think Jordan Mason is better than Judkins right now. So they have the better running back. They have the better receiving core. They have the better tight ends. They have the better offensive line. According to PFF's latest rankings, which the Browns, I believe, are 27th, and the Vikings are like 16th. So maybe the Vikings are a little high, but better offensive line. I will give the Browns the better defensive line and edge rushers and linebackers. I think the Vikings have a better second. Well, no, the Browns have a better secondary. So, like, and the Vikings have a better kicker, better returner. Ooh, that's another thing. The Browns gave up a punt return touchdown last week. So Miles Price, let's go. I could see that happening. Um, so like better coaching, a lot of stuff. So like the Vikings should win this game. This is a very winnable game. I do think it's going to be close. I think it'll be like a 20-10 kind of thing. I know you think it'll be even lower. Um, but I would say, like those two games that you mentioned, if you're going to make a wager on this game, I would bet the under for what's going to happen, especially neutral field, slippery London field. Like it's going to be. Sorry, London. It's going to be an ugly one.
Slobber knocker.
It's going to be.
Some
Maybe they like it. They
game.
want it. You know what? There'll probably be a lot of punts. They'll probably like that.
They'll get some soccer
Get
chants
some
going.
Will Reichert 65-yard kicks out there. They'll probably like that.
Sing some Oasis and call it a day. Some other injuries we didn't talk about. We'll run through them quickly. Andrew Van Ginkel probably not playing. He didn't practice either the last 2 days with a neck injury. That's
He's already been ruled
becoming,
out.
huh?
O'Connell ruled him out yesterday, I believe.
There you go. So he's not playing, like we said.
Right.
Dallas Turner also popped up on the injury report today on Thursday. It's an illness, so we'll see if it's the bubonic plague.
Bad fish and chips.
Yeah, bad. Got to stay away from the fish and chips over there. They sound good, and then or that London breakfast. It's like, you want some baked beans with your breakfast?
Oh,
No,
yeah.
no, I do not. This is psycho behavior. Predictions. You said 20-10. Is that what you're going with?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Browns 9, Vikings 7. Vikings get a touchdown on their first drive and do nothing else. I don't know how they're gonna move the ball, Adam. Like,
No, I know.
in theory, it's, hey, throw it to Justin Jefferson, throw it to Jordan Addison, Jordan Mason up the middle. Their run defense is good. They,
Yeah.
I mean, they should have got burned by Jamison Williams last week. He just dropped 2 passes and Jared
What?
Goff missed him. Yeah, I know. Yeah, but I mean, yeah, this is a bad team, but I don't. The Vikings offense isn't good right now until they solve it. Like,
I will say this: I think there's a very good chance the Vikings defense and special teams will outscore their offense on Sunday.
that's a good call.
I think we could see a scoop and score or a pick six in this game. Maybe, like I said, a Miles Price punt return, a couple field goals by Will Reichard, and those will be your points. And whatever. Sometimes you got to win those games like that, especially with the Vikings. They're literally just like, we just need to get 60 minutes, and then we get to the bye, and then we can figure stuff out from there. Just like get us back into Minnesota, on Minnesota soil, and we can figure out stuff from there. But I feel like they're gonna just whatever it takes pretty much to win on Sunday, they'll be doing. But I could see a Browns win, but I think the chances of the Vikings winning are much higher than people like to give them credit for.
They need to get a win. They need to get back to the States. And then Kevin O'Connell, he's got to do the Ron Burgundy after the anchor fight. God, that escalated quickly.
Rick killed it.
Ryan Flores stabbed a guy in the heart with a trident. Yeah, you might want to lay low after that international waters thing. What's going on at Viking Age, Adam?
We're getting ready for the Browns game on Sunday, bright and early. I know we posted on our channel on here the interview with Jared Allen. I just wrote something about how he's in that interview. He said he was given the pitch for Kevin Williams, saying how like he needs to be at least a finalist because he's got 5 All Pros and 6 Pro Bowls, and he hasn't even been a finalist for the Hall of Fame, which is ridiculous. So go check that out too. And then we're covering musical chairs of the offensive line leading up to the game on Sunday. And then there was a fun story today that one of our writers wrote about. I think Kevin Seifert shared that Brian Flores said even his sons are asking him like about Harrison Smith's playing time, and he's just like, "Geez, just leave me alone." So that's something to keep an eye on too on Sundays is Harrison Smith. Like, why can't we just find out? Like, I know they don't want to. I'm not trying to be insensitive, but at this point, like, can you just give us a sliver? Like they told us an illness. Like, what's going on with Harrison Smith? Like at this point, I feel like it's doing more harm, but than not letting us know by letting people just continue to speculate maybe what is going on with him. Because is it a legit injury now? Is it still an illness? Like, what's going on? Like with Harrison Smith?
I would think too, if it were like a really serious
and he would have been on IR,
it would not be
or whatever.
He would be on IR, and he just would not be like he would not be playing. So like, is it dehydration? Is it? I don't know.
To get the flu, that's fine. Just give us some info so we can be like, hey, typically it takes this and this and this long to recover, and this is why he's out. Instead, we're like, why isn't he playing? He's only playing 15 snaps last week against the Steelers, and it's like I thought he was back. I don't know. I don't want to be like I said, I don't want to be insensitive to him, but like at this point, I feel like it's doing more harm by not letting everyone know what's going on. So go check out the VikingAge.com.
Where we speculate about injuries. No. I'm kidding. We don't do that.
Oh, we do.
All the time. JJ McCarthy conspiracy theory coming right at you. Also check out zone coverage for my Vikings work. Also got some twin stuff, picking up with the Wild big contract. Kirill Kaprizov getting 136 million. So congratulations to him for becoming the Kirk Cousins of the NHL. Check out the FanSided RBN network to keep up with everything that's going on in the NFC North. We got the Packers at Dairyland Express. We got the Bears at Windy City, and the Lions at Detroit Jock City. Also, check out VikingAge.com. Get all of your updates as the Vikings take on the Browns in London. This is the Viking Age podcast. It's the official podcast of the VikingAge.com. I am Chris Schad at The Real Chris Schad. He is Adam Patrick at Adam Patrick NFL. We do this every Tuesday and Friday morning right here on the Viking Age YouTube channel, and we're in podcast form on Apple and Spotify the very next day. But however you consume us, make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe so you never miss a new episode and we can spread the word to the masses. For Adam Patrick, I am Chris Schad. 4 letters, 1 word, Skull.